And welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. We're going to get into a reaction video. Before we do so, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below, hit the notification button, and let us know what you think, because we're always wondering what your thoughts are. Some people comment some negative stuff, which we understand the hate, but we also want to hear the good. So let us know what you think. Comment below. Follow us also on the Podcast Guys _ on TikTok and Instagram, and the Podcast Guys 5 on X. And now let's get into the reaction video.
I never in my life thought that I would be this sick and tired of men. Super extremely sick and tired of men. Like, I do not even want the male species to speak to me. Just please, leave me alone. I'm so done with men. I'm so done with all men. All of you.
Well, all right. There it is. Pretty much another girl on TikTok getting on and saying that she's sick and tired of all men. Sick and tired of them. She wants to be left alone. She doesn't want to be spoken to by the male species. And she's just done with men. She's done. Are women losing their minds?
I think women are absolutely losing their minds. So this is how I read this video. Obviously, she didn't give us any backstory, what happened, what made her feel this way.
Right.
So we don't have any backstory to go off
There's
of.
no context to the video.
There's no context whatsoever. She's just saying she's done with men. She's over it. We could see in the video she's an attractive woman, right? It's hard to say which city she's in, but it seemed like she was in a nice car. She's probably in a nice city, probably goes out often, is into nightlife, so on and so forth. Look, we know that attractive women like that are getting hit on every single day. We know her phone's going off all day, all night. She probably gets more attention than she even knows what to do with, okay? We live in an era now where I think it's getting to the point where, like, women like that, they really don't know what the hell to do anymore. They have endless options. Well, options in terms of, guys attempting to get with them. And I don't think women are really built to handle that much of it. So when she's saying she's done with men, she's done with men, I think what she's expressing is frustration with probably all the craziness and toxicity and stuff that's going on with it. But she's not done with men. That we know that for sure. The moment the video started, when she said she's done with men, I'm like, that's BS, because what attractive women are addicted to is attention. They love the attention. That's the whole drug for them. And the only way they're going to get that attention is from men. So
something must have pissed her off that she had that reaction. Is her reaction based off of something that she did to a guy that caused that guy to break off the relationship or to break off the date? Is it something that she did that now all of a sudden she's not taking any accountability for and she's flipping out all about? But it's her fault.
It's hard to say exactly what happened that caused her to flip out or to say she's done with men. But I think, look, we can safely assume what generally happens with her relationships or her hookups. We can assume that she's probably going after higher end guys, attractive guys, tall guys, the usual, right? What's probably happening is it's probably getting to a point where she probably starts getting attitude, mouthing off, playing games, and in return, it starts to create toxicity, because sooner or later the guy is going to start playing games or arguing back or whatever, and that's how the toxicity starts. So my guess would be that that's what's happening.
In general, are women having a difficult time holding on to relationships? Are they maybe causing harm themselves to a potential relationship?
Yeah, 100%. Look, we know it's a hookup culture. We did already a few reaction videos where now you're seeing this kind of like era where women are starting to go on TikTok and on Instagram and sit in their car just like she is and complain that either they can't find a man or that dating sucks or that online dating sucks. And it's funny because the whole time I'm thinking to myself, like, women should not be complaining about dating, because women have it easier than ever in history when it comes to like unlimited selection, constant attention and validation. But this is just an example of, I think it's gotten to a point where it's too much. I think women can't handle all of that attention and just like guys coming at them left and right, in person, online, text, DM, FaceTiming. So I think it's gotten to a point where we're just a little bit like overwhelming. That's why I'm not really surprised that these women are having a hard time choosing somebody and staying loyal and not cheating, and just like there's too much of it.
The thing is that women are lost, but the fact that they have so many options is causing them to be lost even further. Because they're in this bubble where, well, okay, we're interested in men. Obviously, we want to date, but we're getting all these options via text message, via Instagram, via maybe a dating website that they're on, and they don't know what to do with it. So they're even further lost. They don't even know what to do. So that is kind of what's causing the tension as well. I could tell.
Let's ask ourselves this, right? In general, if we're talking about like attractive modern women, what do they really value? At the end of the day, I would say it's attention, definitely attention, and they also want their freedom. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. They want the attention, they want like relationships, but they also want freedom. They don't want to be controlled. They want to go on vacations. They don't want a guy telling them what they can and can't do. They don't want rules. So it's like, how's that going to work?
But that's what's part of a relationship.
Exactly.
That's what's required in a relationship. A guy is supposed to make sure that she's filling in the role that he's expecting her to fill as the feminine woman. And him as a masculine man has to let her know about that and put her in her place when she needs to be put in her place. Or maybe teach her how to be that relationship type of woman that he's looking for.
Prior to social media, women used to actually value being with a guy, long-term relationships, marriage, kids, so on and so forth. But social media has kind of reprioritized what they care about. And I think now, if we're being honest with each other, I think most women could give two shits about like one specific guy because they know they have this mentality that the guy is very easily replaceable. And in the meantime, they're not only going to replace him, but replace him with somebody better. And they're just going to keep doing that over and over and over again. And look, we don't know what guy she was dating or what this guy was like, but let's just assume that it was a good-looking, successful guy. We've made videos on this in the past. Women need to understand that when you mess with guys like that, there's certain things that are come along with it. You're not dating Joe Schmo anymore. Now you're dating a guy that's going to also hold boundaries and, want naturally a sense of control over you in the relationship.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that women don't want to be controlled.
Mm-hmm.
So they want that freedom, but with the relationship comes not as much freedom as women would expect. Those girls' nights, they're done. I'm going on a trip with my friends and you're staying home, the guy's staying home, that's done. That's not happening. In a relationship that is valued between both parties, both men and women, the men are going to stand their ground and let women know that they don't want them doing certain things, X, Y, Z. And the women, if they value that relationship, they're going to be like, okay, to their man. They're going to say, I respect you. I value this relationship. Not even by saying it, but by their actions, by staying home and not going on those girls' trip, telling the girls, hey, I'm sorry you can't go. We'll do a future trip, but obviously the man has to come. The hubby has to go, right, as well. Because that's the only way you're going to do any sort of trip, any sort of night out. The guy has to come. They're in the relationship. They're together. If she's going off on her own with her friends, then she's kind of putting herself out there. She's not kind of putting herself out there. She is putting herself out there.
Women should never even put their boyfriend in that situation where she even asks to go on a trip like that. That shouldn't even be put on the table. Like, assuming that this is a guy she's dating and taking seriously, not like a fling or something like that. But if she's dating a guy and she's with him 6 months, a year, 2 years, she shouldn't even put the guy in a position like that to say like, "Hey, I'm going to Vegas," with it's Becky's birthday. The guy shouldn't even have to. It should never get to that point where he even has to tell her no. But women just like they do this dumb shit, and then they're surprised when there's arguments later. And, we hear this term all the time, toxic masculinity. And I want to talk about that for a second because it's like a term that women created. They fabricated it. We know they want masculine men, but they don't want toxic masculine men. Like, well, what's the difference, right? They want men to be masculine, but at the same time, they want their freedom. What they're basically saying, I think when women say toxic masculinity, it's like a masculine man that like holds them accountable. is that the point where it turns toxic when that masculine man starts to try to control her? Because I think that's what they mean by toxic masculinity.
Well, they don't like it. So
They don't like it.
What they don't like is toxic to them.
Yeah, because what I was gonna say, where's that toxic aspect of it? Where do you draw the line where it's toxic or not toxic? And I think the immediate line is when the guy tries to tell her what to do or control her, and they don't want to have anything to do with it.
Exactly. Certain things that men want women to do, and women don't see well, right? They don't see it like, okay, this is something in my favor. That's toxic to them. And that's what's messed up, because it's a guy setting boundaries. And before you get into a relationship, the talk is had, and what the man should say is like, this is what I expect. These are the boundaries. This is how far things will go. And if those agreements are broken, then there's no relationship. It's
And
done.
this is why, like we've said it before, like there has to be like a vetting period. You know, women nowadays are very quick to look for red flags and just disqualify a guy. But like the male side of it is like, if you start talking to a woman like over the next few months, you have to start paying attention to those little type of details, like who her friends are, what does she do with her free time, does she do these type of trips? Because look, what happens to some guys is they make the mistake of sleeping with the woman. You know, they raw dog it, and they end up with a kid, and then good luck for the next 18 to 20 years. You just had a kid with a basket case woman, a woman that's going to make your life hell. So you have to don't sleep with a girl raw that you just met, because you're gonna screw yourself over big time financially, and you're gonna have a kid that you got to deal with now. So watch out for that.
That's facts. But there's also men having to pay attention to detail. You always look at the subtle things that women say or do to make sure that you take appropriate action accordingly, right? You prepare for what could happen in the future, or you start reacting in a certain way where she kind of knows that you know what's going on. And so she doesn't try to do anything slick. She doesn't try to be sneaky about something.
You see, women will take a guy and try to project 10 years, 20 years from now, how is he going to do financially? They try to figure it out, like based on, his current financial status and what he's doing in his life. If I place my bet on this guy, how is he going to be financially 5 years, 10 years down the line? Women do that 100%. And what guys should do is, as you start to like date her, you should start to ask yourself, like, all right, let's just say I do end up with this woman, or I do end up having a kid with her. What's this going to look like 5, 10 years from now? If she's gonna give you a hard time and argue with you and play games and go on trips, and another thing to watch out for, look at the friends, because if the friends are hoe bags, what do you think? Birds of the feather flock together. You know what I mean? And hoes hang out with other hoes. So,
Well, as of 2021, 52% of women in the United States are unmarried or separated. Do women just not care for relationships anymore? Do women not take it seriously anymore?
I think where this all ended is once women have become completely liberated from any form of accountability, they could do whatever they want. It doesn't really matter anymore. That's why they're single, because guys are kind of sitting back quietly in the sidelines, kind of like, damn, these women are crazy. I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm not approaching. I'm not dating. How many guys have completely stepped back and they just don't want to deal with it? They don't bother with it. What she said in the video, she's done with men, yada yada. I think this is just a temporary temper tantrum that she had, and she's gonna go right back to dating tomorrow. You know what I mean? Or going out with her friends. But men are seriously sick of women and dealing with the bullshit. There's men that are stepping back permanently from dealing with all this bullshit. So,
And women are losing out as a result.
Women are going to end up single, and what do we say that by 2030 it's like some crazy percentage, I forget the exact number, but there's going to be a very high percentage of women that are single and childless.
45%.
Crazy.
Approximately. And I do have a question based off of that. We'll talk about that in a moment. But guys just go home. They're in a relationship. They go home and they hear barking from a woman, right? They don't want to deal with that shit.
No.
Guys are like, let me go home. Let me make myself a peaceful environment. They'll go home. They'll sit on the couch. They'll sit back and they'll be like, I don't want to deal with this shit. And this is so much of a better feeling than going home to somebody barking in your ear about some nonsense.
Yep. Look, if you're dealing with a woman that's constantly bitching and complaining and nitpicking every aspect of your life, it builds resentment. And like, guys are gonna in general, sit back, be like, this isn't worth it. Let me not argue. Let me just chill out. But you can only deal with that for so long before you finally lose it, and it just becomes a borderline, abusive, verbally abusive behavior to the point where you're just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Right. I think every guy's experienced that, where like you kind of deal with it for like a certain amount of time, but you can't deal with it long term. It's not a sustainable relationship with a person like that.
Of course, if she comes around and saying, "Well, why didn't you pay the bill today?" As the guy, I would say, "Well, you're home. You have access to my credit cards because I'm bringing home the bacon. I'm taking care of the family financially. Grab the credit card and pay the bill so the lights don't go out."
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Right? I mean, you go on there and buy yourself $1,000 handbags. You can't pay the bill, help out.
Exactly. And that's what I meant when I said before. Like, what is it? We should ask ourselves, what is it that modern women really prioritize nowadays? Like think about that for a second, because from what I'm seeing, especially the ones that are like these like social media influencers and like, the women that go out a lot and they're what are they doing? They're seeking attention and validation over and over and over again. Women like that are not going to get into long-term serious relationships with any man that holds any standard for himself, because the guys don't like that. You don't want a woman that's going to be like a social media influencer. To me, is like an automatic. Like, no, like you could hook up and just like mess around casually, but you're not going to date somebody like that. And women that go out often with like their hoe friends and they go to clubs and they're constantly out all the time. Again, how long are you going to realistically date a woman like that for? So
there's women that are in the list of women to hook up with, have fun with, their hoes, whatever the case is, not take seriously. There's that big list, right? And then there's that small list of women to take seriously.
Yeah.
Women that are feminine, women that know their role and understand that they're feminine and they act that way. They bring peace. They're submissive. They're cooperative. They're all these things that men have a desire for. They're not attention whores, right? Certain things that they don't do, put them in that category.
What's interesting is, like, generally speaking, the better looking the woman is, the more difficult she's going to be to deal with. That's just what I've observed. I don't know the reasoning science behind it, and I'm sure people watching this have experienced this. The better looking she is, the more of a headache she is to deal with, because for some reason, it's not even the average woman or the uglier women. It's always the really, really good looking women that just need more and more. They're addicted to the attention. And I think those are the women that really have like, they lack like confidence or something like that. Like, it makes no sense. Like, they're the best looking, so you would figure they have the most confidence, but they're the ones that need the most reassurance and validation. I know average looking women that go out sometimes and they dress up sometimes, but it's not really like a priority for them. They're not thinking about it every single day. But I found that the women that are like, up there, like high 8, 9s, what are they doing? Constantly checking a mirror. Oh, my outfit. Posting pictures. Oh, I need to edit this picture 5 times and take 5 angles and make sure it's perfect. So that tells me that there's something psychologically there that's off, So again, that's just another reason why, like, women that are extremely good looking, not all of them, but for the most part, they're a real pain in the ass to date.
And they'll Photoshop their pictures to look even better too.
They use apps to change the way their entire face looks.
They'll fake it.
And these are, again, the women that are going to be getting like, boob jobs and BBLs and Botoxes, and it's just like, it's the whole thing's crazy.
It's ridiculous to me, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to end. It's just going to continue. And for some women, it's spiraling out. It's just no control. I mean, think about it. As you were saying, women that seek attention, it's like their currency, right? Attention is their currency. Is like making money is currency for men. If they're getting attention, all these options, even the 6 and 7s of the world, they're getting all this attention nowadays too. They're getting all this attention from all these guys. If there's 1 or 2 guys that don't give them that attention, that's going to bother them more than all the attention that they get. They're going to love all the attention that they get, but 1 or 2 guys that ignore them or don't even look their way, don't even care, or don't even think about it. They're just going about their business, doing what they have to do. Could be at a gym, for example. all the guys are giving these women attention and one or two ignore them, that's going to irk them, and that's going to overshadow all the attention they're getting because they just want more, and it doesn't end. So
women that are addicted to, like attention seeking and validation seeking behavior, they can only really get that attention one of two ways: by either advertising themselves online, that's the most common way now, or the other way is they constantly have to go out. And these are the women that are going out like every Friday, Saturday, sometimes during the week, brunch, clubs. You're not going to want to deal with a woman like that. And it's funny because those are usually the most attractive women, but they have to get that constant attention. They can't go 2, 3, 4 weeks without going out somewhere. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
exactly. I agree. Now, the amount of women that were never married increased 20% over the past decade. Is this costing women money? They're all about being boss babes and all this stuff. But is them being single costing them a lot of money?
yeah, I mean, simply put, women that end up staying single are going to have to continue working and working harder as things get more expensive, and they're going to have to pay for everything themselves. So, congratulations on that.
And also, 63% of men in 2023 under 30 choosing to be single is up from 51%. So 51% to 63%. And the 51% was just in 2009. So 4 years. Are men sick and tired of women?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've covered this so many times. It sucks, but a lot of men are just stepping back. They're just like women reprioritize. They used to care about certain things, and now it switched more to like kind of career and traveling. Men kind of switched it up too. It's chasing women is not a priority. Even getting into a relationship or dating is not a priority. You reprioritize your life. You focus on money, working out, things that benefit you, because the difference is you put a lot of effort into yourself, you're guaranteed results. No matter how long or short it takes you. If you put effort into yourself, you're going to see results. You put effort into women, you're not guaranteed any results. Boom.
No, you're guaranteed to most likely lose.
Yes.
Because you're taking attention off of the things that are going to help you grow and putting it on women that could turn around and tell you one day to fuck off. And then what do you have? You have no woman, and you're down in the dumps, right? You have to get back on your grind and grow, whether it's getting in the gym, getting your money up, everything, your confidence, being assertive, being a leader, all that stuff is very important. If you focus on the things that are making you grow, making you more of a man, women are just going to attract to that. And that's the goal. That's what you should do. Focus on yourself. Of course, be interested in asking women out, trying to date women. But again, we're pretty much saying it in the entire podcast that men are sick and tired.
Yes.
She was saying that she was sick and tired in that video, that women are sick and tired, that she doesn't want the male species to approach her anymore, like they're aliens or some shit. Men are tired.
Yep.
And, there's a bunch of reasons why they're tired. I mean, they want to be single, just to be single, just to have peace. They want to focus on their career. They want to focus on their health. There's priorities, other priorities. What else would you say men are focused on aside from those things, and not being in a relationship with a woman and focusing on growing for themselves?
Look, what I've been seeing, and it's great to see it, more and more men now are getting into working out. More men are getting into dating. A lot of men now are getting into, obviously, investing, crypto, growing your money, rental properties, buying and selling real estate, flips. So I would say it really comes down to physical fitness and financial growth, because I think, unless you've been living under a rock, I think most guys now understand that that's like the only chance you have to like rise up and get yourself to a position where you're going to have some your pick in dating, rather than just kind of sit back, be average, and watch this all go to flames.
Right. I think you said dating in there accidentally. Everything but that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, men are intending to grow. Men simply don't have any interest in something that is going to drag them down. They're just tired. It's like they're out of breath. It's like a dog who's panting. It's just like, Who wants to do that anymore? Who wants to live with that stress? Guys don't want to do it. I know for sure. I know I'm a witness to many guys that are sick and tired of it.
In this type of dating culture, you have to like just not take it seriously. Approach here and there, talk to women, you could hook up here and there. But like so far as making it a priority is what I mean. No way. I think nowadays, like as a guy, you have to take dating just like very lightly. Don't get bought into any single woman. Don't catch feelings. Don't chase after a woman and try to invest too much. It's all a waste of time. I think nowadays you just have to be focused on your own finances, your own physical fitness and growth, and just treat women how they deserve to be treated.
Of course. And they don't want to deal with rejection because a lot of guys go up to a woman, deal with rejection over and over and over again. They're like, fuck that.
Yep, exactly. That's really what it boils down to.
Or thinking that, they might be harassing a woman. They don't want to go up to a woman that's giving them maybe a look, but she's kind of giving off bad vibes. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go up to her because she's going to think I'm creeping on her or I'm bothering her or harassing her. And guys don't want to be put in that position where they're trying to go up to a woman and you say hello and they're like, oh, fuck off. You're a creep. I don't like you or whatever. Guys don't want to deal with that because they deal with that a lot.
Even when you're casually hooking up with women, it's like you constantly have to remind yourself, like, she's talking to 3 other guys. She has a backup plan. She has her ex in the picture. And in a week's worth of time, there's probably hundreds of guys that are getting at her. So that's where we're at nowadays with dating.
Yeah. And to close out here, we were talking about the 45%. A study predicts that 45% of women will be single by 2030.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that number will be more or less?
I think without a doubt. I mean, the way things are going, that number is going to increase, and it's only going to get worse out from here because social media has taken off over the last 10 years, and I think it's going to continue to exponentially grow. So
I think things are spiraling out of control, and I think it's going to be way more than 45.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking more closer to 60-65%.
Yep.
But again, we'll have to
wait the
next 5.5 years to see what the outcome is. So that's it for us, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below. Let us know what you think, and we will see you next time. Peace.